Hello, everyone. Welcome to an episode of the BG Show. I'm here to do a review of Venom 3: The Last Dance, the third and final installment in the Tom Hardy-led franchise. As always, I'll do my non-spoiler thoughts first, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, I won't be spoiling it. I'll give you a warning before that, so just stay tuned for those. This movie, as expected, was extremely mediocre, in my opinion, in the best way possible. Like I said about the first one and the second one, it's a throwback to the late 90s, early 2000s movies where you just go to the movie theater, you'd be entertained for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then you just go back to your life and you wouldn't really think about the movie much anymore. And so much has changed because, with HBO Max and Netflix and just prestige TV in general, so everything seems to be, judged now. Everything has to be really, really good. And I'm not saying we shouldn't have expectations. I'm not saying this movie shouldn't be good, but I just think at this point, if you're going to go see Venom 3 in theaters, there has to be some sort of expectation that this movie is going to have a mediocre plot but be entertaining. And I thought that's what this movie was. I thought it had some really, really good action scenes. I thought the Venom stuff specifically, the story was very convoluted, was very mediocre. The villain, I thought, was really, really weak. I think this is probably the second best movie in the franchise behind Let There Be Carnage. But also, I love Carnage as a character, so just seeing him in live action for the first time kind of almost jumps it up. I think Venom 1 is definitely the best one. Although this movie, you'll be watching it, and this is why, I say, the 90s, 2000s movies, because you'll be watching it, and it'll be a really, really just convoluted, random storyline that's kind of dumb. But then there'll be, an action scene that's really, really cool. Like, some of the best action scenes I've seen all year. So that stuff was cool. I thought the CGI actually looked great. I thought Venom and all the symbiotes look great. I'll get into more of the symbiote stuff in the spoilers. But I thought the CGI was really, really good. So I don't know why Marvel always has problems with CGI, because I thought the CGI was really, really strong, and there was honestly a lot of it in this movie. So I thought that was maybe the strongest part of the whole movie was the CGI and special effects. I think this movie is just a testament to when you're an actor and you're well liked and you kind of just go with the flow like Tom Hardy has. You don't really ruffle any feathers. You don't get political. You don't really have any enemies. And next thing you know, you have a Venom trilogy, a movie that probably shouldn't even have been made in the first place without Spider-Man. And next thing you know, he's made God knows how much money with these movies. So I think it's also just, so many actors have gone through controversies. Tom Hardy just kind of lowers his head, keeps the ball rolling, and just makes movie after movie and does really well for himself. I guess in closing, before I get into spoilers, it's just kind of frustrating to not get a Spider-Man appearance. I guess that's the one spoiler thing I'll say now, but I think none of us were expecting Tom Holland to show up. I just think that's the most frustrating part, to not get Tom Holland in any of these movies or really any sign of him. But so that's my non-spoiler review. This is my official spoiler warning, so I'm going to get into spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I guess the biggest spoiler I can get into is that I guess Venom dies at the end of the movie. Let's start from the beginning. So this movie starts out, and Venom is in... we're still in the MCU. It's still at that bar scene, the post-credit scene, and he's talking about Thanos, and the bartender's getting mad at him because his family got snapped away. And the first thing I'm thinking is holy shit, that feels so long ago. I can't believe we're still getting nods to that in movies. I don't know, we've just had so many projects since then. To just hear him talking about the snappage was just kind of disorienting. And then immediately he gets snapped back into the Sonyverse and mentions how he's done with all this multiverse shit, which is obviously kind of breaking the fourth wall. But I thought that was so they just end that whole storyline. He's not in the MCU anymore. He's back in the Sonyverse. That was much about nothing. I guess just to leave that symbiote behind, but he's back in the Sonyverse for now, and he's on the run. They think he killed the cop from the last movie, and so he's in Mexico, and there's a lot of good scenes. And then we get our first shot at the villain, who's Null, I think played by Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead. And Null was barely in this movie. I think the post-credit scene was oh, he's going to come. He had maybe 2 or 3 scenes and a flashback scene, but he does not fight. He's barely in this movie. He sends like these monsters to Earth to basically kill Venom and Eddie Brock, because Eddie Brock and once you die as a symbiote, what should they explain in the movie? This is like the plot. It makes what's called a codex. This whole plot is really stupid, and it's like a classic video game plot. And so specifically because Tom Hardy died and came back to life, he's like infused with Venom, and he's like the key to some, I don't know, some bullshit. And so Null needs specifically Tom Hardy. So essentially he's getting chased by these monsters the whole movie, and he's also getting chased by the government. He's also getting chased by the government and special forces, who have been experimenting on the symbiotes in Area 51. And, the movie goes on. There's a lot of good action scenes. They try to capture him. And one of the things that sticks out is he kills a lot of people that he doesn't have to kill in this movie. Like, Eddie Brock is kind of a dick. So, that's kind of interesting. He's not really such a great guy. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, just like to make sure he's not a hero, but it's a little bit interesting. So the movie goes on. And one of the not strangest, but so, I don't know how you pronounce his name, Reef, the guy from Otto Hightower from House of the Dragon is in this movie, and he's basically a hippie, and he has a hippie family, and it reminds me exactly so much of like not the Zack Snyder, in the Justice League movie, where they had that family that was like really random at the end. This family is like throughout the movie they're like hippies in a truck, and eventually they run into Tom Hardy, and he's obsessed with aliens. And then there's this whole scene where like they're singing a song to him. It's so random. It's almost like they had to it's just added in to add time to the movie. But he was hilarious. I thought he was like the funniest part of the movie, surprisingly. Just throughout the movie, he's just really, really funny. The symbiote stuff is really cool. At the end of the movie, like a lot of people end up becoming different symbiotes. The green one, who the cop becomes, I think I hated the way he died. They killed him off really quickly, but I thought that was the coolest one, the green symbiote. There were a lot of cool ones, even like the pink one with long hair. So I think the designs of them are really, really cool. It kind of maybe even gives them opportunity for a fourth movie, because they have all these different options now just for the special effects wise. But yeah, the movie kind of ends with they're not really able to kill these things, so they kind of absorb all of these monsters within the symbiote, and then Venom kicks out Eddie Brock, and he essentially, like on the military base, there's like an acid drip down thing, and he essentially like kills himself on this thing. And so yeah, Eddie Brock ends up ending the movie not being Venom anymore and just kind of being normal. And it was an extremely mediocre movie, but I thought there were some really good action scenes. I thought the Venom stuff was really cool. Just being a fan of Venom growing up, I think it's worth it just to like see all the different symbiotes in like full form is really cool. So yeah, it's pretty much exactly what I expected. I don't know if I'd rush to see this movie, but if you just want to see the Venom stuff, I'd go. If you're looking just for more like a casual watch, I don't know, I'd probably watch this at home. But it's exactly what I expected. I think the key is just to not go in with really high expectations and just enjoy the movie. So yeah, that's my spoiler review for Venom 3. I'd probably just finish ranking it. I'd probably go Venom 1. I think I'd go 1, 3, 2. Or maybe I'd go 1 and then 2 and 3 are like equal. Or maybe I got to watch 2 again because I think 2 wasn't that good, but I really, really like Carnage. So that's my review of Venom 3 The Last Dance. Thanks guys for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I'll see you on the next one.